As youthful as I look, I know I look 15, but I've been on earth for several decades, 4 decades and counting. Hallelujah. Because that counting part, still counting, that's the important part. But in those 4 decades, I've had and had not. So I have learned quite a few financial lessons that I think will be very valuable to you. Some of these lessons I wish I learned earlier. It would have saved me time. It would have really made me a lot of money. But hey, you live and you learn. Of course, I know more than 10, but I've also learned time is money and money is time. So we're not going to waste your time. I'm going to keep it short and sweet to just 10. And then if you show me you've enjoyed this video by hitting the thumbs up, then I'll do another 10. Capiche? My name is Sloveth. This is Money Conversations, where we really understand that wealth is not a flex. Management is how you manage what you have and what is coming in. All right, let's go on to the very first one. I don't lend money, I give. Now, before you call me Mother Teresa, let me break it down. What I mean is, I don't lend money I can't afford to lose, I can't afford to part with, because I know once money comes into the equation, stories happen, be it intentional or not. So, to protect myself financially, I make sure when I lend is an amount I'm willing to give. It's an amount I'm willing to lose should I lose it. Lifestyle creep is called creep for a reason. It doesn't just happen, it doesn't just show up. It slowly creeps into your wallet, into your bank account. The personal finance lesson here is to avoid lifestyle creep. But when I say that, you've heard it a million times. But let me break it down to you, especially you in middle class. Because when you don't have the money, no big deal. But when you do have disposable income, lifestyle creep should be reframed or renamed convenience. That's what it should be. And it almost got me. I almost fell into it. Because here's the thing, when you can now afford certain things and you have that mindset of money should buy me freedom, we end up, or convenience ends up masking itself as freedom. And over time, with all the conveniences you've been conveniencing, before you know it, you're spending a good chunk of your monthly earning on conveniences, thinking it's freedom, but really it's just foolish spending. It's money that you would have rather spent wisely, you would have spent better, you would have used to bring money in. I almost fell for this. My younger self would have been shocked and disgusted that Lovett even considered what she considered for how much she considered it. I was shocked. But the reason why I didn't fall for it was because I just could not understand that I was about to pay for that. Money buys freedom, not things. Shiny things are great. New things are amazing. But what good is it if you having to remain, I hate to say the word, that S word, to having to work umpteen hours and not seeing the fruit of it. So from a long time ago, thanks to having to pay student loans when you make barely anything, I realized when I make money, when I earn money, it needs to be focused on things that matter, not throwing it away on frivolous things on Amazon and Walmart and Target and whatever else. Financial literacy is power, especially since they don't teach us these things in school, unless if things have changed. I haven't been in school for decades, literally decades. I'm so glad I jumped into the financial space as early as I did. It literally saved, I want to say saved my life, but it literally put me on a different trajectory. So at an early stage, I took care of my money and was watchful over my money. If not for that, I could have probably gotten into a bigger mess and then have had to clean it up to start building. But because I jumped onto that financial literacy trend, thanks to CNBC or MSNBC with Susie Orman, and of course I listened to some of what's his name? Can't remember his name. I was listening to some of his shows, and I was also reading up on the FIRE movement with Money Mustache Guy. But consuming all that financial content really helped me stay on the straight and narrow financially while I was coming up. And so I didn't go into heavy debt or make stupid financial decisions. Read, listen, watch, consume financial content to build on what you know. You only know what you know. You don't know what you don't know. This whole talk about rent and not own. Now, I'm not saying I'm the smartest person in the room. I'm not saying I'm smarter than all the guys out there and ladies doing the math and showing you your return if you invest the money rather than buying. I'm still not convinced. With everything I've watched, I'm still not convinced. They haven't made a good argument to me on why I should keep renting my primary residence rather than owning. A personal finance lesson I have learned is that, sometimes the right decision is not the most popular decision when it comes to your finances. The wisdom of where I lay my head every day has to be within my control. So this shift towards do not own, rent, and instead put that money to the stock market where I have no control makes no sense to me. Of course, I'm sure based on the math I've seen, yes, you do make much more money. But like I said, money is not just about things and how much I have. It's about freedom. Owning means my monthly payment is the same every single month. Yes, my taxes and insurance go up, but that's minimal. I have rented and I have owned. I have rented as a parent and I have owned as a parent. And I can tell you right now, there is no way I will be renting as a parent. No, the peace of mind and the quality of life that I get as a homeowner, I'm sorry, not as a renter. I also do not like the idea of my rent going up every single year and being at the mercy of the landlord. It makes no sense to me. My wealth should buy me control. If I'm renting, there is no control. I do not want to have to move every 2, 3 years because once again, the rent has gone up. Does my taxes go up every year? Sometimes, not really, because as the home depreciates, the tax goes down. But I understand the state can always whatnot raise tax. I understand that fact too. Do I own the house after I've paid it off? I say I do. I do understand the argument that, well, if you don't pay your taxes, then they can take it to. Yes, guess what? It's the same with renting. If you don't pay your rent, they take it. Compare your rent payment and my taxes. So this new fad of not owning anything. And it's not just the house, with everything else now. You can't just own, you have to do monthly subscription. Listen, own, not rent. That is a personal finance lesson that they are trying to change. And I'm still sticking to it because I'm yet to be convinced. Nothing has convinced me that it is worth renting, that renting is worth a lot more than owning. Doesn't make sense. Saving is peace of mind. No one had to explain this to me. Life experience explained this to me. As a young adult, when you leave in school and you realize you need backup, oh, then you know the value of saving. Saving is that is step 101 for financial freedom. You must have some money to fall back on if you need money. I'm not that good at asking. In fact, thank God. I can't think of the last time I had to borrow money. Thank God. This is not ego. I'm just saying when you work towards having some money for emergencies, then when emergency happens, you don't have to, show your nakedness out there and go explain yourself. You have something to cover your behind and take care of the emergency. And then when that savings is empty, you can, after paying off the emergency, you work towards filling that back up. Don't compare finances. Now, this goes two ways, right? You don't want other people's financial decision to determine what you do with your finances. I learned earlier on, thanks to Susie Orman's show, because people would call in and give their financial breakdown, how much they earn and how much they spend every month, how much they have in savings and all that. And it showed me at a very young age, I was still, early 20s, 2021. I saw at a very young age that people who make six figures are living a miserable life because they have all these expenses. And so I learned from an early young age, just because someone is driving a Mercedes doesn't mean that they're happy. They can be so debt heavy that they are miserable. I cannot let other people's financial decisions tell me what to do with my money. We were here before Facebook. And Facebook was what started the social media craze. Facebook was here before Instagram, before Snapchat. So Facebook was showing us what our friends, not strangers, our friends, our neighbors, our friends from elementary school that we haven't seen in 10 years was showing us their lives and how they were living it up and enjoying life. So it was so easy to fall into that trap of, well, they're doing this and my life is so boring. But I learned, thanks to the constant infeeding of the fact that this all is a lie. Oh, I know it's not all a lie for everyone, but it was good to feel that way at a time. They're all here showing what they have, but you don't know how much they owe. Don't spend your money just because he or she or they are doing that. Do it how you want to, how it benefits you. Of course, the other side to that, and because of the Nigerian in me, comparing your finances to other people's finances is a great way to keep you on your toes. You know what I mean? And this is not politically correct, but at a certain age, you're a big girl now, you're a big boy now. You should have something to show for it. I'm not saying to show off, but I'm saying if a lot of people, I'll use myself as an example, if people are at my age, have been in the workforce for 2 decades, are able to drive a sensible car, what's happening? And I'm still driving clunker, what's happening, right? You should be able to check what you're doing with others around. Yes, you can't see the details of their money, and that Mercedes could be, on a loan where they're paying 500 every single month. I agree, but check that with your money and go, can I afford? Can I afford a better car? Why am I still driving clunker? So there's a balance there. I shouldn't go into debt trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to keep up with people. But at my age, what are my other 40-year-olds doing? And if at their age they can afford a Toyota, can I afford a Toyota? And why not? What am I doing wrong? Obviously, I'm not doing something right. So it goes both ways, right? Don't let other people's finances determine what you do with your finances, but also you do need to have some kind of a test or a measuring a yardstick to measure how you're doing at your age, at your big boy age, at your big girl age. You have to have something to show for it. Now, if life has happened and there's been life event, of course, you're grown enough to understand life happened. But if not, then you need to rethink, what are you doing with your money after 2 decades of working? You don't have savings. You don't have any savings or anything to show for it. That doesn't make sense. You got to sit up. You have to wake up and start doing the right things with your money. I'm not into conspiracy theory, but this is a personal finance lesson that has saved me a lot of money and time, and it would save you a lot of money too if you get this mindset in you right now. Debt is an intentional setup to keep you down, to keep you enslaved. Who is setting you up? They, them, all of them, up on top. they. It's an intentional organization that has been set up to ensure we keep taking our money and handing it over to the top 1%. There, I said it. Yeah, the top 1%. I mean, I hope to be one of the top 1% in the future, but it is, once you understand it that way, that debt it's an intentional setup to keep our economy going, to keep not just our economy going, the global economy going, and to keep us pumping, making money for the wealthy. Because when you're in debt, you have to keep working, and you keep working only to go into more debt, because what you owe today is not what you owe tomorrow. Is gaining interest, is building interest, right? When you understand it that way, I realized how much I owe on my credit cards. It was almost like a light bulb went off, and it also made me realize, oh, this is how they get the adults, because I was just out of school, new adult in the world. I'm starting to build. Let's go, let's do this. I've spent 16 years in school. Was it 16? Do the math. I spent all this time in school. I'm out here now. I'm ready to do this thing. And I realized, ooh, this is how they get them. This is how it starts, right? Mine was just, small chicken change, 8,000. But I realized, this is the slippery slope. This is how it happens. So I got it. That is a setup to just keep you enslaved. So see it that way and hate it and choose not to be it. Now you could use it for your advantage, mortgage. who has all these thousands? So it's a good leverage. It's just like fire. Fire is bad. fire is really bad. It could really burn, it could kill you, you know? But you could use it to do stuff that enriches your life. But because you know how dangerous it is, you're careful, right? You're careful with it. It's so normal for us to shop with money we don't own, we don't have. That's not normal. That makes no sense. You don't have the money. You're not buying clothes. You're not buying makeup. You're not buying food delivery. Your circle affects your finances. Facts. Subconsciously, unconsciously, it happens. It's just facts. It's osmosis. You're taking in what is around you, and sooner or later, you become like what is around you. So if your circle are people that don't want to spend, they hold on to their money because, hey, we can't be foolish out here, you'll be a great saver. Now, I don't know, we can make arguments for your quality of life, but you'll be a good saver because you don't spend. You find ways around spending. Likewise, if you're around people who just spend freely and just, hey, live it up and do whatever you need to do with money, it's just money. Oh, you will live it up, because over time you will come to realize there's no big deal in overspending. Of course, there's a balance. It's not always the extreme. If you're around people who, just like you, would love to live life, but also want to make sure that you're doing the right thing financially, you would be the same. You would understand the value of having this balance of saving and spending. So, who you surround yourself with really, really matters now in 2025. Where there's a lonely epidemic, let's not kid ourselves. A lot of us probably don't even have a circle. And even if you do have a circle, you probably don't even talk about. So, this comes more from what you listen to and who you watch, since we spend most of our time watching somebody. Who you watch affects your finances. If you're watching people who do a lot of hauls and they buy and they show you what they bought, ma'am, sir, you will be doing a lot of buying. If you're watching a lot of people who talk about their investment account growing, guess what you're going to do? Exactly. It's vice versa. So pretty much what you surround yourself with affects your finances. Speaking of investing, ooh, if you've been here long enough, you know this is one of the biggest regret I have in life, in my short, young life. Investing is your way to wealth. It is the only way in our society, the way our society and economy is set up, is the only way we, middle class, low class, can really build wealth. This is how the wealthy build wealth. Hence, therefore, it's only smart to do so. I wish I learned this much earlier. I was more focused on saving. And saving is great, but saving doesn't grow your wealth as quickly as investing does. And when I say quickly, it doesn't grow your wealth as investing does. Saving only keeps what you earn. Investing not only keeps what you earn, it grows it. Now, you do lose with investing. It doesn't keep what you earn. You can lose, but over time, your risk of losing is minimal. Now, I'm going to turn this off and you're going to miss me. But YouTube has a solution for that. Click on this video because it knows you will enjoy it. It knows you will learn something. So click on that and I'll see you there. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.